Hey Damon, great to see you again, mate. It's been since December last year we last spoke for The Tourist, and you since got an award nomination at the Logies. So congratulations on that.
Thanks, Shane. Thank you, and nice to see you again.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. I missed you at the red carpet for Nude Tuesday. I was unable to make it at the Sydney Film Festival. Did you walk the red carpet in the nude with maybe some boots on and a hat, or were you fully clothed?
I was fully clothed. It is winter in Sydney at the moment, so yeah, we all turned up to that fully clothed. I actually was on a flight from Melbourne to get to that premiere that was an hour and a half late. So
Whoa.
I didn't need any extra clothes. I was running at every kind of possible point from the plane to the taxi, from the taxi to the red carpet. Yeah, so I was quite warm that that night.
Oh, look, I heard it went down really well. I've since seen it. It's on Stan, streaming in Australia. There's actually about three versions of it. Now, when we last spoke, we only briefly touched on it, but it's in another language. It's all subtitled, but there's different kinds of subtitles you can actually watch through Stan.
Yeah, and it's not even really in another language. It's in a made up language. It's basically some kind of gibberish that sounds a little bit Scandinavian, but is basically and a completely improvised language based on an original script written by Jackie Van Beek, who
Yeah,
also plays Laura, my wife, in the film. Um, and then after the film was finished, two different sets of subtitles were written, one by the British comic Julia Davis and one by Ronnie Cheng and Celia Piccola from Australia.
yeah.
And both those versions, as well as a completely subtitleless version, are on Stan now, so you can make up your own subtitles if you want to. Um, and all those two versions were both written after the event, so I didn't know until I saw the film what I even said in the film, which is a truly unique experience.
I was going to ask you, when you got the script, was it in English or were there just directions? How did you
It
like?
it
How did
was a
you
completely
develop the
English.
character?
Yeah, there was a completely English script. Jackie said she initially just wanted to write screen directions and have it completely improvised, but then she realized that there would, without sort of having distinct intentions on each line,
Yeah.
it would all sort of probably feel a bit samey. So what she did was write a complete script that was an excellent script in its own right. And when we performed the film, performed each scene, we are thinking about the English version of the line every time we say a line in gibberish.
Okay.
It just so happens that that's not the line that's written in the subtitles when the film is finished. And
Uh,
it's often a completely different intention from what we're saying. Some of the lines are just so far from what we thought we were saying when we were performing it, which
well,
just makes it
that's
even
it
funnier.
works with the facial reactions and things then, because obviously the chemistry with you and Jackie, you had to be on the same level. Because if you didn't know what was going on, but you were doing different references, I think it's pretty masterful how you ended up just convincing everyone of this couple that you had. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the subtitle. I've only seen the Julia Davis version. I'll probably see the other version in the next couple of days on Stan. But yeah, just speaking for the Julia Davis one, it's remarkable how much she made what she wrote match with our faces. Or sometimes she would make it not match at all, but in the most brilliant way, so that we would be saying something clearly very serious, and then she would write a piece of dialogue that is completely ridiculous,
Yeah.
which also worked a treat because it was so different from what it looked like we were saying.
Well, Celia Piccola is a really funny, masterful comedian. So I'm looking forward to checking out what she's got.
Yeah, so her and Ronnie Cheng
Yeah,
have a version that is a combined version. They wrote their subtitles separately, and then
combine them.
Jackie and the director Aman combined them into one. So I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
It's a bit of a risk, like for a Australian Film Commission to fund this movie. You know, it's a subtitled film, nudity, bizarre comedy, Kiwi co-production. I mean, it must have taken some convincing from the producers to actually get it off the ground.
I think it did, and part of that convincing was a little sort of proof of concept that we filmed, maybe I don't know, 8 months before the film was made. We
Yeah,
Jackie and the director Aman Ballantyne came to Australia, and the three of us and a crew shot I guess like a 3-page scene that was again written in English by Jackie, then translated to gibberish on the spot,
a lot of
and then
work.
they got three different writers to then write subtitles to that same three minute scene. So that kind of illustrated it perfectly, because you could in under 10 minutes you could watch three versions of the same scene with completely different subtitles, and it be funny in three different ways.
So as an actor, you completely would never flub your lines because no one would know anyway, right?
Exactly, and oh God, what a joy that was to never have to worry about flubbing lines. It actually was, it actually was quite freeing, because you don't realize how much brain space is taken up trying to remember lines, and without needing to remember specific words. I mean, yes, you were still trying to remember what you're generally saying on
Yeah.
any given line, but not having to remember what word comes after the next. It really did free you up to be able to just really be in the moment, and concentrate on what you were trying to get across and what they were trying to get across to you.
I know how good of an actor you are, Damon, so I wouldn't imagine you'd flub lines very often, right?
Oh, it happens. It happens. I don't know that there's a correlation between acting and line
Sure.
flubbing. I think, yeah, you go through stages in your career where it's one of those things. If you get it in your head that you're going to be flubbing lines, it happens all the more. So you just hope
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you try not to even think about it.
The locales, like the location, looked pretty cold, was it? And where was the retreat exactly where you filmed it?
It was pretty freezing.
Mm,
It was at a place called Makarora, which is a very small part of New Zealand in the South Island.
yeah.
Near I guess there's the closest big town is a town called Wanaka. But we were shooting and staying in the A-framed accommodation that you see the characters
It
staying.
looks nice and pleasant.
Oh, it was lovely. I mean, it was like being on school camp. We would stay on site and then get up in the morning and walk 20 meters to set. And sometimes the set was just another A-frame like the one we'd been sleeping in. And then at night we'd all congregate in the bar and have drinks and play pool. It was great fun, but it was incredibly cold. And I think when people ask about whether the nudity part was difficult, yes, because of how freezing it was. It was.
Oh
He
yeah.
never appreciated clothing more, just because of how cold it was. We quickly got over the embarrassment of nudity, and were far more concerned about keeping warm.
Are you confident, like in naked scenes or love scenes? Like, are you confident with your naked body? And I know the restrictions on set are very, tight, but are you comfortable? You're just acting like you would normally act and sort of thinking you've got clothes on, or how does it work?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, I wouldn't know the answer to that question until I did this film, because I'd never
Mm,
done it. It is the cast on the whole is fully nude and full frontal nudity for about 15 minutes of the film, and
yeah.
it was certainly a confronting thing to do on the first day we all did it. By
Yeah.
the second day, I think everyone was like old hat. It just didn't feel that big a deal anymore, and especially when there were group scenes. It was a bit more confronting when it was just you, or just you and someone else. But when there were
Sure.
20 of us at a time, it was a safety in numbers kind of thing.
So Jackie had come to you a long time ago for the process to make this movie. It's been around in development for some time, I guess.
Yeah, I met Jackie at the Sydney Film Festival premiere of The Breaker Upper, as a film that
Yeah.
he starred in and co-directed and co-wrote, and I was just sort of fanboying over her, saying how brilliant I thought she was. I didn't know her before seeing that film, and I just was blown away by her performance. And we just stayed in touch after that, and then it wasn't long after that she had suggested us doing this proof of concept
Yeah.
teaser, and which eventually led into the film. So yeah, I don't know, haven't quite worked out when it was. Maybe I think it was maybe about a year and a half that I met her, a year and a half meeting her before we ended up making the film.
And Jermaine Clement, he must have been good to work with. I've never met him, but he seems like a very down to earth character
He's
type of
very
guy.
down to earth. He's really he's hilarious, very quiet, hilarious to work with. I mean, in person he's just very quite quiet, you know, but lovely, just such a nice guy, and hilarious in character. I mean, I found it, you know, we had to cut a lot of times because of me laughing when I had scenes with him. I just found him so funny. There's something about his particular deadpan delivery, and even just the sound of his gibberish. It just had its own quality to it that made me laugh. Yeah, I think he's brilliant.
There's a scene where your character Bruno, he is very upset in a supermarket because he cannot find something he's looking for. Has that ever happened to you? Has you done laps in a supermarket and got so frustrated you had to walk out
I
without?
haven't, no, and started throwing cans at the staff.
Well,
No,
that's good.
that has not happened to me, Shane. I think I keep my cool a little bit better than Bruno does.
Yeah, I'm glad, very glad to hear that. I was just asking in jest. Uh, we also, last time we spoke, you had received a signed copy from your director, Quentin Tarantino, from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, of the novel. Have you had a chance to read it as yet?
I haven't as yet. Thanks for bringing that up and catching me out on my.
Because your
My
character is much more developed in it, as I said, and I would
yes.
just want you to read it, and it's
No,
very interesting.
thank you for reminding me. I must do that. I'm just a bit slack with tackling anything in novel form. I love reading articles that are a couple of pages long, and the novels I'm just like, oh, that looks like a lot of work, but I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
Well, what about scripts, or do you just get like a few pages here and there? You must read
No,
scripts
no, you
front to
got to
back.
read the script. Yeah, yeah, no, but that's different because a script is oh, it's a quicker read, and also
Okay.
you have to do it too for work. You know, you have to know what's in a script before you take on a job. So that I'm cool to do. Yeah, I have no real excuse for not having read that book. I'll have to get onto that.
It's coming up to the 10-year anniversary of a Thousand Bloody Acres, the movie you did with Angus
You,
Sampson.
you just 100 bloody. You just
Oh,
multiplied it by 10, Shane.
oh, I did too. My bad. Well, I'm thinking of 10 years. See, it's a decade old very soon next
If we
year.
do a sequel, I think it might be 1,000 bloody acres, though. That could work.
Well, I never liked it, to be honest, when it was first released. I've since returned to it and now appreciate it a bit more, I think. And I was speaking to Angus, your co-star, recently at the Thor premiere because he actually was in that film, but unfortunately his scenes were cut. I'm sure
Right.
they'll be on some Taika Waititi supercut because
Yes.
Taika made like a 4-hour version or a 3-hour version of that
Yes,
film.
I know a few people whose scenes were cut. I don't think that's a rarity in that film. I think you know, it's not certainly no discredit to the actors. It's
What are your
they
memories
had a lot of stuff.
on that particular movie with Angus? I mean, he's come a long way, like yourself, acting in a whole lot of international projects. Do you remember making that movie? And
Oh, I have only fond memories of that film. It's one of my favorite jobs ever.
is that right? Okay.
Both from the perspective of shooting it, but also I am a big fan of the film. Um, I just think it achieves fully what it set out to. But you know, when I read the script and when I watched the film, that's the film I thought I was reading, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah,
I just like it's got a very unusual sweetness and a charm to it,
it has.
despite it also having a lot of gore. Um, there's something about it that just really tickles me. I don't know what it is.
Oh, Anna McGahn, I think is how you pronounce
Yes,
her surname. She was
again, yeah.
terrific in it too. Yeah, you had some good co-stars in that. So
It was
thought
a
I'd,
great bunch of people. We just had such a lovely time making it.
mm.
We all became really good friends, and Colin and Cameron Cairns, who directed it and wrote it, was so great to work with. And they've got a new film, Late Night with the Devil, that they're shooting right now, which I have read and am very excited to see that. I think that's going to be a really good one.
Speaking of projects that you've done recently, the Robbie Williams project that you've been working on.
Mhm.
Can you tell me anything about that at
I'm not
all?
allowed to say. We're not allowed to say who we play. I'm not sure why, but that's one of the rules around it. But I can tell you that it's awesome, and I think it's going to be spectacular. I'm so excited about it. I, I've rarely get as excited about something as I do about this. Just having
All right.
been around it, we just finished. In fact, today's the last day filming. Funnily enough, um, being on set, seeing the stuff that they've filmed, it looks incredible, and the script is amazing. I just think Michael Gracie is such a talent as a director, and
He is.
it's going to be something pretty amazing, I reckon.
So it's a musical. Can you tell me that
In
in a
some
sense?
ways you'd call it a musical. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. I guess it would probably be called a musical, but it's it's hard to classify. I think
Sure.
it's its own thing.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk closer to release. So there's a rap party tonight, I assume.
Rap party's on Saturday night.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I think they'll all be a bit exhausted tonight. But yeah.
Well, any final words on Nude Tuesday? Why you think people should watch it on Stan?
I think because it's so different. If you like checking out things that feel like they haven't been done before, this is certainly one of them. And I just think the film is really entertaining. It works. It's funny. It's funnier when you consider the fact that everything we're saying, we had no idea that we were saying it. There's a second version you can watch if you want, if you like it enough and want to see what else these characters.
If
You know,
people can, yeah,
I mean,
sit
I
through
mean,
it twice, maybe, yeah.
apparently the other version not only has different dialogue, but a different story in some respects. It has a different
Okay.
ending. Um, Even though you're watching the same visuals, the subtitles are such that the ending to the film is different. So, and I think they're just great characters that Jackie Van Beek has written on the page, and
Yeah.
it's a really enjoyable journey to spend time with these the crazy people that you meet in this film.
Well, it's certainly different. You got to keep an open mind when you're watching it.
Yes,
You are rocking a moustache in it, though.
I
A
am.
very good one.
I am. That's a real moustache.
Yeah, it looked real.
Uh,
Homegrown.
I didn't know if I could grow a moustache until I had that role because I've never had one before. Um, but my dad has one, so I kind of just look like my dad a lot.
At least you weren't made to ride horses in the nude. I know you were riding horses in the Lone Ranger, but imagine that if you had to ride a horse in Nude Tuesday, that
Yeah,
probably wouldn't
I
be
think I'm with you on that one, Shane. I'm glad that didn't happen.
good. All right. Well, thanks very much, Damon. I hope we get to talk again soon, and I look forward to the Robbie Williams story. Has it got a title yet?
Yeah, it's called Better Man,
Better Man. Okay.
as in the film title. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
the song title. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Williams.
I
Yeah.
think he's a lot more popular in England and Australia, and rather than the US. Do you think the movie might translate to an American audience?
I actually do. I think that if it were not this particular film, and as good as this one is, I think it could be difficult because he's not that well known in America. But
Yeah.
I actually think the film is going to transcend the fact that he's not known because it works despite that. You don't need to know who Robbie Williams is, I think, to enjoy it. So, yeah, I'm super excited about it. I
Well,
think
I'm
it's going
glad
to
to
be.
see you're excited. I hope you're a member of a boy band. Yeah, you never know. That'd be interesting. Thanks,
I'm not,
Damon.
I'm I will say I'm not a member of a boy band.
Oh, all right
That
then.
would be yeah, that would be I would be the world's oldest member of a boy band if I were in a boy band. But yes, that's probably all I can say at this point.
Well, you can't blame
And
me for
I'm not Robbie
trying.
Williams.
You can't blame me for trying. I was just trying to get a bit of information out of you, so I wouldn't be doing my job if I
No, of
didn't.
course.
There you go, mate. I've stopped